How do you keep your martial arts school, your school or academy full all year long? How do you keep classes packed out? In this video, I'm going to share with you three things that you can do to make sure that you're keeping the mats packed, you're signing up more students, and you're helping more people achieve their goals in your school or academy. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer Waters. Welcome. I'm super pumped to have you. I've been working with schools and academies since 2020. We've worked with over 300 plus schools at this point, helping them reach high six figures, seven-figure impact. And it's from the lessons that I've learned inside of my own flagship school when we took it from just a few $1,000s a month to over $1 million a year in just under 5 years. And on top of that, we've been doing it for the last 15 years and counting. So I want to share with you what you're going to need to do if you want to replicate some of that same success. The first thing that we want to look at is we want to make sure that in order for you to actually keep your school full, you need to have consistent lead flow. What does that mean? That means that if you are coming in every single month and going, well, I wonder how I'm going to sign people up, that's not what we would consider consistent lead flow. Think about this. You don't want your marketing to be like a water faucet at the sink where you turn it on and you turn it off. There's times where the water's not flowing at all. What you would want instead is you would want it to be a river. You're never stopping a river. It's constantly flowing all the time. And that's what your marketing needs to look like as well. So right now, if you're going in and you're starting Facebook ads and you're turning them off, if you're going out to an event here and there and you're turning it off, that is not consistent lead flow. So my number one recommendation for our clients that work with us at Seven Figure Dojo is to have one internal event every month, two external events, and three sources of online paid marketing in order for you to have consistent lead flow every single month. If you're not getting that consistent lead flow, it's going to be challenging and hard to keep your school full. Now, the other thing that you're also going to want to do is you are going to want to target the right people. How do you target the right people? How do you cast a net wide enough to be able to grab all those people that are your ideal students, your ideal customers that will be coming in? And what does it mean to actually target? Well, first of all, I want to make sure that we're understanding a couple of things. When I'm talking about targeting, I'm legit talking about social media, paid advertising, targeting inside of that realm. I think when we talk about hosting internal events or external events, there is some targeting there as well. For example, if I'm a kids martial arts school, I don't necessarily want to go to a UFC fight night to collect leads for kids karate classes. That's probably not the best place to do that. But if I flip that, if I'm an adult jujitsu school, I definitely would want to be at a UFC fight night to collect leads. So you see, it's very important that you think about who is your ideal customer, who's your ideal student, and to also identify who is that in the market. I see a lot of times people going, well, I teach all ages. I teach all these different styles, all these different classes. And don't get me wrong, that is great when you already have a proven track record. You're already enrolling people. You have consistent lead flow all the time, and you want to expand into new markets. But my concern is that if you're below $40,000 a month, that is going to detract from you actually gaining real momentum and being branded in your area. So you want to choose what and who am I going to be working on, or excuse me, what am I going to be working on and who am I going to be advertising to? So are you a kids school? If you're a kids school, you need to make everything about advertising for kids and changing their lives. Are you an adult school? You need to make everything about having this vibrant community and changing their lives through fitness, through self-defense, through whatever it is that you teach. When it comes to social media advertising, the thing that typically happens is instead of going broad, we go actually really narrow on social media, which really ultimately will slow you down with your lead flow. So when I say target, what I mean is decide what age group that you're going after. That's what I mean by targeting. Not once I'm in that age group, I target even further. because that is going to strictly, or it's going to really limit you, and it's going to limit your reach on social media advertising. It's going to make your cost per lead go through the roof. You want to make sure that you keep it as broad as possible when it comes down to once you've made the decision on who to go after. And make sure that your creatives, make sure that your images, your videos speak to that person. Um, Maybe if you're a martial arts school, you wouldn't want to have a flying sidekick and someone getting crashed into it, or a takedown and someone getting slammed. That's not going to speak to that mom who's going, man, I think this would be a great activity and Johnny can learn a lot from it. That's not speaking to her, what she's looking for. Because you got to remember, especially with martial arts, and this applies to anything else as well, people have no idea what you do. They've only heard about what you do or seen what you do from someone else, not from you. And you have to be the ultimate source of truth for that potential prospect. You have to educate them. And your education has to be very slow. The first thing you have to do is get them to raise their hand. You can't go straight in and create a whole entire article or website about whatever it is that you're teaching and expect someone to actually give you their time and read it thoroughly. You just need them to raise their hand and go, oh, I'm interested. And that's what I mean by targeting the right people. So what are some simple strategies that you can do to keep top of mind in your local community so you are targeting the right people and you have consistent lead flow? Well, if you do not have a lot of cash right now and you're strapped, some of the things that you can do is you can start posting in your local Facebook group. Now, here's where I see people do this wrong. They try to advertise in their local community's Facebook group, and most of the time they get banned. Instead of advertising, you want to be an advocate. So you're going to be commenting on people's posts when they have questions about whatever you feel would be an overlap of your expertise. Make sure that you're known as that authority in the area. And then you also want to engage the group. So come up with thoughtful questions as well, so you can get the group commenting on your posts. And on top of that, another thing that you're also going to want to do is when you do have free events, remember I mentioned have one internal event every month. You want to post that because it's a free community event. This is going to be one of the things that you can do to really start working on that community influence in your area. The other thing that you're also going to do is you're going to host those events, like I was talking about, where you can have press releases for those events. So create a press release, send it off before every single free event that you have, so you can see if perhaps you're going to get the media to come out and actually cover it. This just helps boost your authority. And a lot of times you can take even some of those videos that are produced by the local authorities or by the local news stations and use it as an authority piece in your own marketing. Be at community events. This is huge. You want to be at community events. You want people to know who you are, where you're from, and you want them to recognize you as a brand in your area, or your school or your team as a brand in the area. So be at those community events. Social media advertising will exponentially fast forward this process. And so ultimately, the goal that I would say for you is, if you're sitting at 5 students, 10 students, and you're like, how do I actually move forward? You want to start getting enough momentum so you can start investing into modes of advertising that are less time intensive, which is going to be social media advertising. You still want to do the internal, you still want to do the external events, because you don't want to be stuck with one method of marketing, but you also want to make sure that you're doing these things as well. All right, guys, if you got a ton of value out of this video, drop value for me in the comments. As always, appreciate you, and we'll be back next week with another